These were good students, a good family in a good neighborhood here in Texas.
Tragedy strikes a Texas family.
He knew his son was missing. He knew a pistol was missing out of his house, and he was concerned wanting to find his son.
Police searching for a runaway uncover a twisted murder plot.
He liked to play in fantasies.
Their mother woke up in the middle of the night, and this girl had a big butcher knife about to plant it in her forehead.
She commented, well, the plan is in motion.
She's the epitome of the devil.
Have you ever worked on a case as evil as this one?
When we walked out of that interview, we were in shock.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's Crime Exposé takes us to Roanoke, Texas, located 20 miles north of Fort Worth. Roanoke is known for its small-town charm and big city heart, but a gruesome crime would shake the community to its core when a single mother of two mysteriously vanished. Even seasoned investigators trying to locate her could never have imagined the horror they would uncover behind closed doors. It was Friday, September the 26th, when the Roanoke Police Department received a call from a concerned mother. Her daughter, 43-year-old Susan Bailey, and her two grandchildren, 17-year-old Jennifer and 13-year-old David, were nowhere to be found.
She was worried about Susan and the kids because she knew anytime she called, if she couldn't get a hold of Susan, she'd call Jennifer or David, and someone was always either at the residence or they always had their cell phones with them. So she called Roanoke Police Department and asked us to go and do a welfare check.
It was unlike Susan not to return calls from her mother.
Susan Bailey was fairly recently divorced. She'd been divorced about a year and a half.
Roanoke police sent an officer to the Bailey residence, but found nothing out of the ordinary.
No broken glass, no forced entry that he could tell. He knocked on the door. There was no response.
Police reported back to Susan's mother.
So we just called, notified her, and said they're not at home, they're not answering, and the car is gone. So to us, it seemed apparent they had left and went somewhere.
Susan's mother had told police about her daughter's acrimonious divorce, so they checked in with her estranged husband.
Her ex-husband was someone who the mom didn't really care for, and as part of the divorce agreement, he had to have supervised custody with the children.
Susan's ex-husband was fully cooperative with the officers.
He did not know her whereabouts. He did think it was unusual for her not to be responding.
He also mentioned that Susan had recently had a run-in with their daughter.
He told the investigators that Susan did not like Paul Henson, a young man that Jennifer considered her boyfriend, and he knew that there was conflict between mom and daughter over that relationship.
Susan had been firm with her daughter.
She had actually forbid Jennifer from seeing him anymore, and she thought that Jennifer was following her orders.
Why didn't Susan want her daughter seeing Paul?
Well, Susan was a good judge of character. You could tell by looking at Paul, he was up to no good and he was trouble.
The issue with Paul had resurfaced just before Susan's mother called police. Paul Henson's father had also called law enforcement.
Paul Henson had been reported a few days prior to the Roanoke Police Department as a runaway. He told them that he was in a relationship with Jennifer Bailey and that they might check for his whereabouts with Jennifer.
They said that they believed he was in possession of a .22 pistol, and they didn't know why he would have that gun, and they were concerned about him because he was a dark individual. You could tell by looking at him, he had a lot of issues.
Just 2 days before Susan's mother had called Roanoke police, cops had already visited the Bailey residence.
Would you mind if we just come to the house and make sure that Paul's not here?
Yeah, I'm here.
They checked the house. They did not locate Paul Henson, but they did locate a backpack belonging to Paul Henson with belongings in it. They also noticed that Jennifer Bailey had a packed suitcase in her room. She claimed to not know the whereabouts of Paul, but because she had his belongings and she had a packed suitcase, That caused Jennifer and Susan to begin arguing.
What's her bags packed for?
Jennifer, why are your suitcases in your room?
This looks confusing to me because this looks like she's fixing to go somewhere.
And where'd that gray suitcase come from? Did he give that to you?
And right now,
Don't tell me you don't know where it came from because it's never been in this house.
what's in that gray suitcase?
These aren't her jeans. These are Paul's clothes.
Police left the Bailey residence without finding Paul Henson. And when Susan's mother called police 2 days later, they thought Susan had likely taken her kids out of town.
They're having problems with Paul and all this that's been going on. Most likely she loaded the kids up and left. He knew his son was missing. He knew a pistol was missing out of his house, and he was concerned.
Susan Bailey and her daughter Jennifer had argued about Jennifer's boyfriend, Paul Henson. And when 16-year-old Paul Henson was reported as an armed runaway by his father, police believed Susan had possibly taken her 2 children out of town.
A couple of officers went trying to locate the runaway, and they had went to the house, and Susan wanted them to search the house.
Evidence that Henson had been at the home was found underneath a mattress.
The officers lifted the mattress and found a billfold and some men's shoes. They opened the billfold and they saw Paul's school ID card in there, so they knew Paul had been there.
Police left the home, but Susan called them back.
She found that .22 caliber pistol. So they came back out to the house, and not only did they retrieve the pistol, but they also found a knife.
Officers weren't sure where to look for Henson.
We were able to pin him that he had been in that residence. We just couldn't locate him.
His parents were also concerned for their son.
His father had actually came to Susan's house one time trying to locate him. He knew his son was missing. He knew a pistol was missing out of his house.
Susan Bailey was also beside herself.
She had a good relationship with her 2 children. The only tension was recent, and it involved Jennifer's relationship with Paul Henson.
Jennifer Bailey had just graduated high school, and Susan was saving money to send her to art school.
These were good students, a good family in a good neighborhood here in Texas.
Detective Brian Peterson was monitoring the situation closely. He knew Susan and her children.
I got to know her pretty well. She was a hardworking mother. She loved her kids. She tried to protect them the best she could. She worked 2 jobs, and you could tell she loved her children.
He asked colleagues to keep him posted with any news about the Baileys.
It was the weekend, and I remember leaving on a Friday, and I said, hey, if something shows up with those kids or Susan, let me know. And I believe it was around 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. I get the phone call, and they're telling me that Yankton, South Dakota, police called.
We have 3 teenagers from Texas in a 2002 blue Saturn registered to a Susan Bailey that are up here in South Dakota, and their stories aren't really making any sense. We don't know where they're headed.
A police officer in Yankton had spotted the car with Texas license plates pulling up to a gas station in the middle of the night. Police pulled up to the vehicle to question the occupants.
Where were you coming from tonight? Came through from where? I don't know. Okay.
And so he pulls up there and starts talking to him, and he notices David's just shaking uncontrollably.
Turn around, keep your hands out of your pockets, put your hand on the car here for me. Search the car, you gotta search the person.
Jennifer spoke to the officers, but her story wasn't adding up.
They said, well, we left because my mother was having problems with a boyfriend, and we left to get away from him. And by the way, we're worried about her because we've been trying to call her and she's not answering the phone.
According to the daughter, her mom won't answer the phone. You don't think it would have shot mom, do you?
Police officers called authorities in Roanoke, Texas, right away.
As soon as they called us, when we told him what was going on, they placed him in custody.
Roanoke's going over to check on her mom right now. They have been unable to get a hold of her for 2 days.
So they go back to the Bailey house in hopes of locating Susan and talking to her about what her kids are up to.
And then there was an electric cord, and it was splayed on the ends, exposing the wire. And it was almost like they were wanting to electrocute someone in the tub.
Authorities in Roanoke, Texas had just been notified that Susan Bailey's 13-year-old son David and 17-year-old daughter Jennifer were found in Yankton, South Dakota, with a runaway teen, Paul Henson, driving Susan's car. But there was still no sign of the missing mom.
When they called and told me that was enough for me to say there was exigent circumstances, we needed to go into the house.
When police arrived at the Bailey home, there was still no sign of Susan, and the doors were all locked.
They entered the house, and when they come up to the first landing of the stairs, Susan's body was right there laying in the floor.
Susan Bailey had been deceased for a number of days.
There's pools of blood, there's blood spatter, she has multiple stab wounds.
What was determined to be the cause of her death?
There was a fatal stab wound to her neck and also some blunt force trauma to her head.
As police canvassed the home, the horror Susan had experienced came into clear view. Her body lay just in front of her daughter Jennifer's bedroom.
We found it was a wooden bat laying on the bed.
More bizarre evidence was found steps away in Susan's bathroom.
There was water in the bathtub, and there was 3 cell phones in the water in the tub. And then there was an electric cord, and it was splayed on the ends, exposing the wire. And it was almost like they were wanting to electrocute someone in the tub.
In the sink, police found scissors and a mound of dark hair.
It was Paul's hair, where he had given himself a haircut.
Was there any doubt in your mind who had killed Susan Bailey?
No. Seeing the hair, Paul had long hair. I asked the officer up there when I was talking to him, I said, hey, has Paul got a fresh haircut? He said, yeah. He sent a picture, and that was a bad haircut. Yeah, there was no doubt the kids had done it.
Still, police needed more evidence, so they flew to Yankton.
We flew up there to do a crime scene on the car to wipe it for DNA and just get evidence.
Jennifer was the only one out of the 3 who could be interviewed.
Jennifer was 17, and so in Texas, she's legally an adult, so they could interview her. She refused to cooperate and refused to talk to them.
I remember when we got to South Dakota, the ranger looked at Jennifer and said, you know, why did you do this? And said, well, me and my mother didn't see eye to eye, you might say. When we walked out of that interview, we were in shock that a kid that young could be so stoic and that cold.
While police started the process of extraditing the teens back to Texas, they found more evidence the murder had been planned days in advance.
We found a purse, and it belonged to one of Jennifer's friends. And we wanted to know why that purse was there, because most of the time girls not going to leave their purse. So we got her name, we ran a check on her, and come to find out she was in juvie. And we was like, well, what she's in juvie for? So we found out that she attempted to kill her mother. Her mother woke up in the middle of the night, and this girl had a big butcher knife about to plant it in her forehead.
It was like a story from a nightmare.
She was demanding her mom's car keys and cell phone, and her mom struggled and fought with her to obtain possession of the knife and then called police.
And it was the same day Paul Henson was reported missing.
So then we started putting it together, you know, here's this girl tried to stab her mother in the head. Susan's dead. This was a plan that had been hatched out.
The other teen had gone to school with Paul and Jennifer.
It turns out that she was also in some kind of romantic relationship with Paul Henson. So now we have 4 teenagers who are all tied together.
And that 4th teenager shared the twisted details of their plan.
When they alerted her that the other 3 teens were in South Dakota, she commented, well, the plan is in motion.
Both she and Jennifer were committed to Paul.
Paul Henson was a charismatic individual to these girls. He liked to play in fantasies. They found a demonic Bible in his belongings. He liked role playing, and he had convinced the girls that they were all going to kill their respective parents and flee together to Canada.
The teens were extradited back to Texas, and investigators continued gathering evidence to explain the bizarre motive for the heinous crime.
They believed that they were all together in a past life, and they wanted to continue on being together, and the parents were keeping them away from it, and they were going to kill their parents and flee somewhere up into Canada and live happily ever after.
Detective Peterson could not believe Susan Bailey's children would turn on her in such a violent, heinous way.
We never were able to obtain the story from any of the three individuals. They all took advantage of their Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate themselves and ultimately pled guilty, but did not ever explain what exactly happened in that home.
Based on the evidence, investigators believe Susan was ambushed when she came home at night after working 2 jobs that day.
She got home about midnight, and when she walked up the stairs, they were waiting for her, and they all 3 attacked her and brought her down to the ground and killed her. It was very violent.
Would you say you've ever worked on a case as evil as this one?
I've worked on some dark ones, but not like this. Most kids would get emotional, cry, or they realize they did something wrong. There was no remorse, no guilt, no anything from these kids. All the way from David all the way up to Paul, there was no remorse at all.
Detective Peterson said he couldn't believe the young children he had once seen trick-or-treating with their mother in Roanoke had turned into murderers. He is still haunted by the heartbreaking actions they set into motion.
Like I said, Susan, she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that at all. It was heartbreaking to know. Just imagine a parent, a mother of all people that conceived those child, to know her last moments was the children she brought in and loved killed her. And there was no remorse in their eyes. It breaks my heart to this day that they had to go through that. They didn't deserve it, neither did Susan.
All 3 teenagers charged with Susan Bailey's murder pled guilty. Susan's daughter, Jennifer Bailey, and her boyfriend, Paul Henson, were tried as adults and received a 60-year sentence. They will be eligible for parole after serving 30 years in prison. Susan's son, David Bailey, was prosecuted in the juvenile court system and was sentenced to 26 years in prison. And now, it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. For many parents, it may be difficult to assess if their child is troubled or has the potential for violence. Some warning signs include intense anger, extreme irritability, and impulsive behavior. To help safeguard yourself and your family, restrict your teens' access to weapons and monitor their in-person and online activity for anything suspicious. Experts say intervention and treatment can go a long way in preventing teen violence. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration hotline at 1-800-662-HELP is available 24/7 and provides confidential assistance. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.